This video contains elements that are not suitable for children under the age of 14. Viewer discretion is advised. Hey guys, this is Fay-Wolfe of Famous Dex Music here. Drake just became the first artist in history to have one of his #1 debuts replace another one of his #1 debuts. That is not the biggest news story of this week. We have a lot to cover, so I'm not going to waste any time. We're just going to get straight into it. Let's go. Alright, first up this week we have Best Life by Cardi B featuring Chance the Rapper. Now obviously I'm not going to give my thoughts on Cardi B on every single song she had in the charts this week, considering that she has 6 of them, and I do not have 6 songs worth of entries, 6 songs worth of Cardi B material to talk about. So instead, Cardi has 1 solo song. I'll talk about my thoughts on her there, or my extended thoughts. I gave thoughts last time, but obviously I'm going to be giving more this time. For the rest of the songs, I'm just going to be talking about what I think of the featured artist and the featured artist alone. So, Chance the Rapper. Great place to start because I really don't know anything about Chance the Rapper. A lot of critics who I, listen to / read, have said very good things about Chance the Rapper. I've never looked into him myself. The only thing I recognize him from is his feature on I'm the One last year, which I did not like. It's not that I didn't like his part. I don't even remember what his part was. But I guess that is kind of the reason why I didn't like the song, is just because it was just so nondescript. I'm convinced the only reason it managed to debut at #1 was because of all the people that DJ Khaled managed to cram on there. And even then, he it only stayed there for 1 week before falling off. I mean, it was still almost in the top 10 for the year end, but whatever. So Chance the Rapper, I'm gonna take the word of other critics that he's capable of good things. I'm sure one of these days I'll look into him and I'll see, based on snippets I have heard. He has seemed pretty impressive. Seems to have some pretty good lyrical dexterity to him. But again, I can't speak at any level of expertise whatsoever because I don't know him. So collaboration with Cardi B, Best Life. Don't really know what we're going on to what I'm getting into here. So let's stop wasting time and listen to the song. Best Life by Cardi B featuring Chance the Rapper. 3, 2, 1. It's a weird beat. I really hope that Chance does more than just this. This is kind of a... Oh, he's doing one. This is an interesting idea for a beat. No, you're not, Cardi. Listen, I like you, Cardi, now, but you're not. Don't compare yourself to Tupac yet. The flow goes well with this beat. When I first heard the beat, I was like a little bit iffy about it, but pretty decent matchup to her flow, I gotta say. Okay, Cardi B really doesn't need to sing. That was what kind of that was what dragged Nicki Minaj down back in the day. Don't make that same mistake, Cardi. I'm not like horribly impressed by this so far, one way or another, but I will say it at least does sound unique. This does not can't think of anything this necessarily reminds me of. Yeah, again, I'm not going to pretend I'm an expert, but this, if I had to guess, this is more commercial guest artist Chance the Rapper, and not personal spilling his heart out on the album Chance the Rapper. It's kind of similar to... I mean, this song isn't really similar to that much else, but my opinion of this is, like, pretty similar to, like, so many other songs I listen to on here. I feel like there's, like... I feel like this is something I say, like, literally every single week, but... It's just like, I mean... I don't dislike this. I don't feel like it's really playing to Cardi's strengths, though. Okay, that's a that's a nice little lyrical idea. It's kind of weird to hear Cardi B talking about her self-confidence issues, because, not gonna lie, from everything I've heard from her, it never even occurred to me for a split second that Cardi B was even capable of insecurity. Okay, I like this verse. I'm liking this verse more than I like the beginning. It's always nice to hear the, sorry, my phone buzzed. It's always nice to hear, artists just, like, talking about, especially rappers talking about how, grateful they are for their success. Just good to hear, honestly. Alright, it's growing on me a little bit. Is that who you're trying to be? Chance, you're trying to be Jamie Foxx. Not doing an awful job. Now who are you trying to be? Future? The hell, I thought we got past this guy already. I don't know exactly what he was doing in that exit there, but yeah, that was I like that one. Fun. It's just not stopping, is it? I'm about to give my final thoughts, but it's very slowly fading out. Alright, so, yeah, Best Life by Cardi B, and Chance the Rapper. It's, enjoyable. It was, wasn't really sure about it at first, but it kind of grew on me over time. But I'm not going to dwell on this too long. I'm not going to pretend like I have any, like, deep, insightful thoughts on it, because we have a lot more Cardi B to get to. So, yeah, in terms of that song, I will just conclude by saying, perfectly serviceable. Perfectly quaint little song. Alright, up next on the list we have Get Up 10, and this is actually the only song in the top 40 day this week that is made by Cardi B and Cardi B alone, which, you know, doesn't really surprise me. You get your, I mean, you get a opportunity to make an album with your label. You're going to get as many hot features as possible, especially when you are, you know, one of the hottest up-and-comers on the scene, which Cardi B most definitely is. I already talked a little bit about her last week when I talked about, what was the name of the song? It was, Be Careful. When I talked about Be Careful, I shared my thoughts on Cardi B, went over how I, you know, initially, you know, didn't get it, did not like her at all, and was, you know, really worried, but then over time I grew to, you know, I grew to actually like her quite a bit. And, you know, I honestly, now, I think I could say that Cardi B, she was someone that we needed in the music industry. Not only do we, you know, obviously we don't have as many female rappers as we, you know, probably should, but Cardi B just, she has this, a lot of rappers, they have, their personality is limited to their sound. Like, I mean, if you look at, like, XXXTentacion, or, you know, 21 Savage, or, I don't know, I'm drawing a blank, but some of these guys, just, basically all this new up-and-comers, what do you really know about them outside of, like, what their sound is? Basically nothing. I mean, some of them obviously had a following. Like, you know, basically the only reason that 6ix9ine, you know, got popular was because he was, you know, basically turned himself into a living meme. And, you know, a lot of these guys, you know, they have no personality basically to speak of, or at least that people know about. In fact, for far too many of them, their personalities can be boiled down to woman-beating assholes. But Anyway, but my point is, like, Cardi B is different because not only does she bring a ton of personality to her music, but that personality shines through outside of it. I mean, obviously, she got big off of, for Instagram following. She got this following because she's just like entertaining. She just has a personality that people, latch onto. And I think that, more than anything else, is the reason that she has become so very big so very quickly. Because her rise has been, meteoric. It has been a really incredible thing to watch. I can't remember the last time I've seen an artist come from nowhere just so quickly. And she has the chops to back it up. I mean, like I said, I was not overly impressed by Bodak Yellow. I despised Bodak Yellow at first, but that was frankly just me being close-minded. Now that I look at it more objectively, don't really have strong feelings one way or another towards Bodak Yellow. I think it's like a person. She can do better. Let me put it that way. I have heard her do better than Bodak Yellow. It makes sense that Bodak Yellow is kind of her signature song, because that was actually, even then, I say that, but it's it's just kind of like slow and droning. I like Cardi when she has a bit more tempo behind her, but maybe that's just me. I like music with more of a tempo behind it, regardless of who's singing it. So, yeah, I think I've given enough context. I don't know anything about this particular song, Get Up 10. I don't really have any context to any of these songs on the album, or, like, have any prior knowledge going into them, so all I can do is just listen to it. So, yeah, those are my thoughts on Cardi B as an artist. I am not at all surprised that she managed to make an album bomb like this and, debut so many songs in the top 40 all at once. But, yeah, without wasting any more time, let's get to it. Get Up 10 by Cardi B. 3, 2, 1. Yes, good job setting that record straight, Cardi. I'm liking the way this narrative is going a lot, actually. And this production is... Sorry I'm not commenting, but I'm actually listening to the lyrics on this one. I'm really enjoying this. This is... Is that an air horn, Cardi? You're basically pouring your heart out and telling your story, and you're shitting an air horn in the middle of that? I gotta find out who produced this, because this is some really solid production here. And why is that air horn actually kind of working? It's 2018. How are you making an air horn work? I'm loving this intensity. Jesus. My God. Oh, okay. I'm not entirely sure what to add to this. This is just like a very... She talks about her success like a lot. But that's not a bad thing either. Like, she's not bragging, she's just like... She just seems to be like all fuck yeah about it, not like fuck you about it. I guess that's the best way of putting it. She's all like fuck yeah, not like fuck you. It's a good title for it, honestly. This is working, like, really well for me, guys. I'm really... Jesus. I'm not someone who, like... Usually I'm someone who... You guys have probably noticed so far by, you know, how much talking I usually do over them. I'm usually someone who kind of, you know... connects more with the general vibe of the song rather than necessarily the lyrics. But that one I found myself connecting with both, because that was like a, you know, that was just like a straight up concise narrative. That was basically Cardi B telling her origin story, which was not anything that like unexpected. Like I knew her story going into this. I'd read about it and like her background, because you know I do research for the videos I put out, but. Yeah, to hear it from her mouth like that, and especially with that beat beneath it, that was like... That was a good beat. That was like just the right level of intensity. She wasn't like overselling it or anything. It wasn't like, you know... Wasn't like load up and head out or anything, but it was just like... I'm kind of like at a loss for words to describe that, or, you know, like the precise, concise reason why that worked so well for me, but I really liked that. I would say that, like, out of all of the Cardi B songs I've heard, I think that might be my favorite of them, honestly. Again, this is just based on first impression, so we'll see how it holds up, but I think that might be my favorite of Cardi B's songs so far. I'm trying to think which other ones would replace that, like... I'm not sure. But, yeah, so I think that made my opinion there very clear. Very solid. I very thoroughly enjoyed it. Get Up 10 by Cardi B. I give it not necessarily a Get Up 10 out of 10, but maybe a Get Up 7 or 8 out of 10. Probably close to 8. And now, for a brief break in the midst of the Cardi storm, we have Famous Dex, Japan, or Japan by Famous Dex, rather. It's been climbing the charts for a little while. How long has it been on the charts? Let me just check that really quick. It's been on the charts for a little while, steadily climbing, and it's at number 29 now, just a couple weeks. And again, this is just another person I don't really know anything about. It's, you know... I just looked up. Apparently, he has a an album called Dexter's Laboratory, so good foot to start out on. And just looking at the beginning of this music video I have at the beginning of the screen, I'm very interested to see where he takes this. It's a pretty short song, only 2.5 minutes long, so it's going to be a short interlude from the Cardi storm, but hopefully it'll be an interesting one. Japan by Famous Dex. 3, 2, 1. Okay, it's like ASMRing in my ear. Okay, I can like hear his like mouth opening and closing in there. Cool music video, I'll say that, but... He's really not making much of a first impression, good or bad. It's just I mean, I'm appreciating all the Nintendo references in this video, because I love Nintendo, but... Yeah. I'll say, this is definitely one of the most unique music videos I've seen. But, in terms of the guy actually singing it and the song that it's attached to... I mean, it's not bad, but... It's... Okay. I'm noticing a theme here. Repetitive, theme that seems to be popping up over and over again. Cute little ending, but yeah, this I don't have any like I said, I don't really have much context to this song, but if this did become popular as a result of memes, that would not surprise me at all. If this is another one of those meme rapper guys like the Gucci Gang guy or 6ix9ine, leagues above those two. I'll say that much. I at least can tolerate this. This would, like, if this became popular, I would never listen to it, but I would never question whether or not humanity's worth it for the fact that it's popular. So yeah, Japan by Famous Dex. That was one of the most... I won't say the most generic. It was generic for the most part. There were a couple little quirks in there. None of them necessarily good. Like, he was like... I mentioned before, he was like... I was getting like ASMR effects because he was just like...
You could hear him talking like this, and you could hear like every contour of his mouth opening and closing.
So that, yeah, it was just, that was kind of weird. But also he had that like kind of like mumble talk. It wasn't mumbling, but it was just like you know, just kind of talking like this at the beginning of the video. It was just doing other. I'm not gonna pretend to do it. But yeah, Japan by Famous Dex. I don't see myself returning to that one. Okay, I'm not gonna lie, my head is kind of about to explode right now because, alright, next we have more Cardi B, The Ring by Cardi B featuring Khelani. Now, Khelani. I did not know who Khelani was, or I thought I didn't know who Khelani was, till I looked her up just right now. I didn't recognize anything that she'd done or anything, you know, the name meant nothing to me. But I just looked her up, and apparently she was part of a band called Pop Life, a band which came in 4th on America's Got Talent, and I remember watching that. I remember the band that she was on before she went solo, back like what got her break. I remember watching that on America's Got Talent because me and my family, we go up to Maine every summer. We have a little house up there, and we go up there. And we don't have internet up there, at least we didn't used to, so we would spend a lot of time in the evening watching TV, and we only had a couple cable stations, and one of those was America's Got Talent. So it's a family tradition to watch America's Got Talent up there. In terms of the show itself, it's, you know, it's corny and, you know, kind of stupid in a lot of places, but, you know, honestly, as far as I'm concerned, as long as you can get past the obvious, like, emotionally manipulative fluff and, like, schlock that is admittedly pretty hard to get past, but if you can get past that, then you do get to see some genuinely talented people doing some pretty amazing things. That, and you have just, like, countless very similar sounding, technically talented, but personality-free singers doing emotionally powerful ballads with backstories, and you're just supposed to vote them through because they have very tragic backstories and not because they are distinctive in any way. But I remember that Pop Life, back a few seasons ago, they were not one of those cases. They got through, pretty much on their own merits. Like I said, they got fourth on there on the show, and I remember liking them. I'll have to go back and look at some of their performances, but I remember they did this. I was younger when I watched this, so maybe my memory is skewed, and I wasn't actually that good. But I remember they did a cover of, what was the song? "Come Together" by the Beatles, and I remember thinking that was really cool. I remember thinking it was very impressive. Again, that was back at the time. I don't have any recollection of it now or if it was actually any good, but I remember being impressed with them at the time. So to find out that this is the person that I'm talking about, someone who I actually witnessed their career starting, and now here I am reconnecting with them. How long ago was that? Let me check. It was 2013. So that was like, oh no, it was 2011 that they did that, and so that was 7 years ago. So I that's so weird to me that I found this person 7 years ago, or I watched this person, get their break 7 years ago, and here they are in the top 40, and I'm talking about them, and I just completely randomly found out who they are. So that's me ranting on and on about that. And I'm honestly not entirely sure what to expect, and I don't know if she's any good. So I could keep babbling on and on forever, but let's just see. Ring by Cardi B featuring Khelani. 3, 2, 1. Based on what the persona I remember from her from the show, this was not what I was expecting her to sound like. This is kind of generic. This is maybe I was just like overhyping this in my mind a little bit, because like, holy crap, I actually know who this person was. That was just such a shock for me to find that out when I looked that up. Also, a song called "Ring." I was expecting this to be about her engagement, which... Alright, up next we have a song which I am fairly confident is about Cardi B's engagement, unlike the last one, which was like only kind of maybe sort of about that. I Do featuring SZA. SZA. It's another artist that I really feel like I should know more about, even more than Chance the Rapper, considering how much I've had to talk about SZA so far. But I mean, basically the only thing I've heard from SZA is her pop hooks. Like, I remember All the Stars. Obviously I love All the Stars. I think she did great on that. And she was basically, the only reason that I was able to, basically the only reason all that I really didn't mind listening to that one Maroon 5 song, What Lovers Do. So, yeah, I mean, based on what I've heard, says I like her, but honestly, in terms of her other charting songs, to be completely honest, I really don't remember that many of them. I remember I wasn't really impressed by Love Galore, or there was like one other one. I don't remember what the other one was, but wasn't a huge fan of that one either. So, all in all, I guess I like the idea of SZA more than I actually have liked her in practice, at least based on what I've heard from her so far. Haven't heard Broken Clocks, but what can you do? You can't listen to everything. So here we go. I Do by Cardi B Cardi B featuring SZA. 3, 2, 1. A little bit off key. I kind of like the idea though of it though. I feel like a lot of people have been using like off-key notes on hooks in order to like give it a unique identity. Like, I usually don't like off-key notes at all, but I don't mind. I don't know why, but I don't really mind the ones on the hook. That is. That's what floats your boat, Cardi. I mean. Yeah, I like when Cardi goes a bit faster. That was the one thing that I didn't like about the Get Up 10. It wasn't like a bad thing as much as it was like something that would have made it better. Yeah, this is more similar to her Bodak Yellow flow. So really weird to hear SZA doing this with this flow. I mean, it's good. She's working with the auto-tune pretty nicely. And I guess my prediction was wrong. This does not appear to be about her engagement. Oh my. That was a good line. I like that. She's spitting out some good lines on this. No limit indeed. I hadn't missed it. I like badass Cardi. I mean, I know that Cardi's that is basically Cardi's persona, but I love when she plays that up. I love when she plays out the like in her own words, that badass bitch side of her performance. She does that really well. I think that. And the SZA hook is like really working. And that hook sounds a lot better when you get people over it, or when you get SZA over it, rather. And Cardi, too. If they make a music video for this and it doesn't feature them inside a giant clock, I'm going to be severely disappointed. I Do, by Cardi B featuring SZA. Not too much else to say about that. That was enjoyable. That was, I liked that one quite a lot. That was, I don't know, man, it was just good. played to Cardi's strengths, it played to SZA's strengths. It was just good, man. I liked it. Drip featuring Migos. Now, I've obviously spoke at some length about Migos before, but, you know, as far as the, you know, obviously when you think of Cardi B and Migos together, the first thing that comes to your mind is her relationship with Offset, and how they're engaged, expecting a child together, which, you know, I'm not even someone who follows celebrity news at all, but I was still, you know, it's kind of impossible not to be aware of that if you have, like, any sort of knowledge in the music world whatsoever. And so it kind of, you know, stands to reason that this would be Cardi B's second biggest hit off the album, given that publicity. And so, yeah, I like Cardi B, and she's been, like, you know, moderate to mildly impressive so far. And, you know, Migos, I've already talked about how I like Migos. Same thing I'd say with them, like mild to moderately impressive, or at least recently. I've heard plenty of stuff from Migos I don't like, but most of their newer stuff has been, like, passable at worst, if not a little bit monotonous and boring. So, but anyway, yeah, I'm interested to see where this goes. Drip by Cardi B featuring Migos. 3, 2, 1. Chipmunk vocals. It's never a Never a bad thing to head into a song, naturally. I will say this is definitely an interesting place to take the chorus. You know, is it just me, or just like, something I've never spoken about before, is it just like, does every hip-hop song have to have like a constant, underlying, overwhelming, overpowering bass at the bottom of the track? I mean, I like bass as much as the next guy, but gotta, you know, use it like a paintbrush, not like a lot of these songs seem to use the bass not like a paintbrush, but like a fire hose. It's like using like a half Migos flow. You know, Migos obviously used the triplets, and that's not like exactly the same, but it's like the same general general idea as the last ones, or as the other Migos songs, or at least more than the other songs. This, okay. That line jumped out at me. Migos really isn't flexing all that much. I've said it before, I'll say it again. Migos are just like, you know, they're like the local pizzeria pizza of rap. Never gonna blow you away, but, you know, they're just a nice, just like a nice level of familiarity, and just like, you know, consistent, you know, consistent like 6 or 7 out of 10. I can't remember the last time I've heard Takeoff go this fast. I haven't commented on this before, but that's a really striking album cover image. That's, you know, I've been staring at it constantly on all these tracks. Good job Quavoing, Quavo. But that's all there is to say. He's Quavoing again. What does it even mean when they say drip anyway? I'm not looking up drip on Urban Dictionary. Oh. Okay, I now know what drip means. I'm sorry, I mean, I knew the whole time. I didn't just look that up. I will say this, for the production across all these songs, they definitely seem to have, like, it's, like, unorthodox, but in the most orthodox way possible. I mean, it's like, each of these songs have, you know, something about them that stand out at least a little bit, but at the same time, they're not, like, you know, they're not by any means, like, surprising or shocking or, like, envelope pushing or anything like that. It's just, like, you know, just enough to stand out, to hold your attention for, like, a second. Because that's the thing with a lot of these Cardi B songs. Like, I appreciate Cardi B, but I don't really, like, seek her out or listen to her all that much. And this song hasn't, you know, that's been kind of my opinion of all these songs so far, with the exception of, oh, I'm forgetting the name of it. I'm sorry, I'm not feeling all that great right now. But yeah, I've totally lost my train of thought. Drip by Cardi B featuring Migos. That was fine. And now we have the biggest song off of Invasion of Privacy, that being I Like It by Cardi B, Bad Bunny, and J Balvin. So, where to start with this one? Well, you know, honestly, this is like... first of all, let me tell you what I've heard about this. I've heard that this is the one that is most likely to stick around, based on, like, you know, I've heard a couple people, you know, I've read a couple reviews online, heard a couple people talking about it, and everyone seems to think that this is going to be the one that is going to have the long-term impact, and not just because it debuted in the top 10. They just said based on, you know, the structure of the song, just basically what it is, this is the one that seems likely to stick around. Which, you know, kind of surprises me that they weren't saying that about the Migos one, but, you know, now that I've actually heard the Migos one, I've, Drip, I just, you know, I understand it. That seems like something that's, you know, that really seems like an album track that really just charted off of streaming and not much more. But this is weird to me because it's Cardi B with Bad Bunny and J Balvin. Now, let me start with J Balvin because he's the one that I know very slightly more about. I don't know much about either of those two, but obviously, you know, those of you who have been watching me will know that J Balvin made my worst list for 2017, my list of the worst hit songs 2017, with Mi Gente, specifically the Beyonce remix of that song. And I didn't really get much of an impression of J Balvin one way or another from that, because he wasn't the reason the song on there. The reason the song was on there was because of the goat noise. And even then, I only put it at number 10 because I'm just like, I really don't know if I should be putting this higher than 10 or not even putting it on the list at all, because I'm just like, I have no idea what my opinions are of towards the song, because it's like, I don't know, Mi Gente is such a weird song. But anyway, yeah, that's basically, you know, my only first-hand experience with J Balvin. Other than that, back when, you know, way back at the beginning of my channel when I did the Despacito episode, for those of you who haven't, don't know, I did a video talking about Despacito and trying to, like, kind of dig into the background of where Daddy Yankee and J Balvin came from, you know, now that they had this big smash. And I had some tangentially related information to J Balvin there. I remember a quote from J Balvin that called Daddy Yankee the Jay-Z of reggaeton, and I referenced that in the video. And that was basically as far as my knowledge about J Balvin went. You know, looking at it further, it seems to me that he's also kind of this, oh, what's a good comparison I can make? I can't even make a good comparison, but, yeah, I would say that J Balvin is like, you know, a lesser version of Jay-Z who's been around for a long time, but he's like... Or, I'm sorry, a lesser version of Daddy Yankee who's been around for a long time. Pardon me there. But, yeah, he has, you know, been around for a long time. I looked at J Balvin's, you know, YouTube page. He has, like, you know, over 10 million subscribers, I believe. So, you know, he's no, you know, he's no, like, little guy. He's, like, in the Latin world, he is a big, big deal. So, you know, and I know that in the wake of Despacito, there has certainly been a lot more Latin crossover on the charts, you know, not a ton as big as that, but between that, there was Wild Thoughts, there's Havana, so there's been some residuals from that on the charts, and so, if ever there was a time for a, you know, for a Latin artist crossover, especially on the back of a rap song, it'd be that. Bad Bunny, I know basically nothing about. I know that he's, you know, another somebody in the reggaeton, you know, area. You know, just in that sphere, which is not a sphere that I know anything about. And so, you know, again, I found, like, little snippets of tangential information that mentioned Bad Bunny's name when I was doing research for the Despacito episode, but unlike J Balvin, where I gleaned a little bit from that, I have not heard anything else about Bad Bunny since then, so... Don't really know what to expect from this, other than that these are two reggaeton artists, so I would assume some sort of Latin inflections on here. I did a whole, like I said, I did a whole episode about, you know, the origins of reggaeton and all that stuff, the Despacito episode, which is like the 5th time I mentioned that, so I'm not going to mention that anymore, and we're going to listen to the song. I Like It by Cardi B, Bad Bunny, and J Balvin. 3, 2, 1. Oh, we're not holding back, are we? We are... This is a sample from something. This is definitely a sample from somewhere. I recognize that. Works as a backing beat, though. Now, where is that? Okay, so it is a sample of "I Like It Like That," which is a it's really clicking. That is an old song from back in the '60s. Okay, it's like works pretty well as a sample, though. Not a huge fan of the trap elements on the chorus here, but that's like, you know, I mean, what do you expect? Yeah, I definitely see why people are saying this is the standout from the album in terms of, like, having crossover potential. See, I don't even know the two other artists we like well enough to know if this is Bad Bunny or J Balvin. I thought Bad Bunny was the producer, so I'm gonna assume it's J Balvin for now, but I could be wrong about that. Yeah, I could definitely see that, like, you know, they're trying to fish for a crossover hit here. Trying for, I guess, the hip-hop version of Despacito. Which, no, Mi Gente was not the hip-hop version of Despacito. I don't even know what Mi Gente was, honestly. But yeah, you definitely get that, you know, the sample definitely lends the song a certain degree of authenticity because it is, you know, based on an old standard. Cardi B is another someone who just has a good neutral. Someone who, like, even when she's not, like, you know, she never, like, just... I've never heard a Cardi B song where she just phones it in. She's definitely going out there like she has something to prove, which, I mean, she's new, so she does have something to prove, but she does not sound like... I guess that's, like... But in a world where so many people seem like they can just, like... The less they try, the cooler they are. Cardi just completely bucks that trend. I can't comment on the lyrics here because, like, like I ever comment on the lyrics. But, I mean, it's Spanish. I don't speak Spanish. I mean, I took 3 years of Spanish in high school. I'm picking up, like, disparate phrases here and there, but that's about as far as that goes. Oh, there we go. Sounds good enough to me. Now, I have never been able to roll my R's. I've been trying to do that my entire life, but I never learned how to roll my R's. I think, I'm liking this. I like it. It's, yeah, I agree with what everyone else has said. Honestly, out of all the songs I've heard from Invasion of Privacy, this is the one that I see sticking around the longest and having the most long-term impact, because that has, like... That was a solid sample. I mean, you know, obviously I've ragged on sampling in the past for basically just being, you know, jacking someone else's beat, which, I mean, that was. They really didn't do anything interesting with that, other than adding in some trap elements during the chorus, which, you know, made it more distinctive, but I would argue also made it worse, but not that much worse. So, I mean, yeah, it was, like, totally jacking the beat from somewhere else, but, you know, it's fine. That was, because, I mean, it's like... I know I'm coming off as a little bit hypocritical here, because in principle I'm against what they're doing, but, you know, on the same time I'm just being, you know, kind of, I'm trying to be a bit, you know, pragmatic about this, because this is just like, the fact of the matter is this is the song from the album that I can see as, like, the crossover standout, which I already said before. I'm repeating myself. Cardi B, Bad Bunny, and J Balvin, I like it. I like it. And here we are. We have reached the end of the road with the biggest news story of the week. Actually, no, it's not the biggest news story of the week. I lied. That is Cardi B's album dropping. But in terms of singular songs, this is the biggest news because we do have a new #1, and it is by Drake again. I know I mentioned this at the beginning, but it's kind of a big deal, so I'm going to mention it again. This is the first time in Billboard history that we have had a song debuting at #1, which is replacing another song that the same artist debuted at #1. That's right. God's Plan was on top of the charts for 11 weeks, and those were its first 11 weeks on the chart. It started at #1 and it stayed there. And the only thing that could knock it off was another Drake song debuting. So I said in my worst songs of 2017 list that I thought we were all ready for a break from Drake. Apparently I was wrong. Apparently no other musician in the world has the hit-making power of Drake right now. So I completely misread that one. And I'm really interested to see this. First of all, it has a music video, which is, nice after all of the I love staring at Cardi B's, yellow hair and freaky purple lips as much as the next guy, but that's it's nice. It's nice to have something other than a static image to stare at. I guess is what I'm saying. But this is going to be interesting because from what I hear, the song is getting pretty good reviews, and it seems to be, based on what I heard, it seems to be a feminist anthem. Or, not an anthem necessarily, but it seems to have feminist undertones in the song. So I'm going to be definitely paying, more attention to the lyrics on this one than I usually do. Because usually I just get, like, a, general vibe of the song. But now that I know that, I'm going to be, like, trying to very specifically listen for those lyrics. So pardon me if I don't talk as much as usual. Obviously, if I have something to say, then I'll talk and I won't hold back. But that's what I'm going to be trying to do for this. So, yeah, I'm not going to make the same mistake and say that it's not going to stick around like I did with God's Plan, because, just based on basic pattern recognition, that probably isn't the case. Both of Drake's past all three of Drake's past #1 hits have been at the charts for 10 weeks or more, so that's crazy. So, or at least I think that is. I don't remember. I remember One Dance, I think, was on 10 weeks. Was Work on there for 10? I know that was featuring Drake, but was that on there for 10 weeks? That might have been on there for 10 weeks. I don't know. But, yeah, let's see what this is. The biggest new debut, our new #1 song, Drake, Nice for What? 3, 2, 1. This part of the song? What is this? Is this another sample? This sounds like another sample. Okay, so yeah, it does have a sample. It's a Lauryn Hill sample. Okay, I just checked that. I will say I'm really digging this sample. Just trying to get the lyrics in here. This seems to be pretty straightforward, I mean, lyrically. I like it, but it's, This is not what I was expecting, but I'm not saying that in a disparaging way at all. This is like, I don't know the Lauryn Hill song, but I mean, it seems like a pretty straightforward sample, and I'm really liking this sample. Again, it seems to be basically just jacking the beat, but it's like, not to say, after 11 weeks of God's Plan on Trump, it's so nice to have like a song with some actual energy to it, and God's Plan has grown on me, but it's like, this track's just so involved, and it's just like so... The song is just so involved and active. I think I really like this. Nice for what? This video still has... Okay. Song's over, but the video still has like a minute left. What else is going on? Or not. Okay, so these are just credits. That's a really cool video, by the way. Okay, pardon me, guys. I'm just going to cut through this. I'm going to pause this really quick, because my dad just called me, and I'm just going to turn this call really quick, because, you know, so I'm just going to do that. Just give me 1 second. Alright, sorry about that, guys, but as I expected, the end of the music video was just, was basically just credits going on, over the, sample from the song playing, and, indeed, I did, my dad did need me to call him back, pretty immediately, so, yeah, sorry for that. But yeah, that song, okay, nice for what? I think I made it obvious that, you know, my knee-jerk reaction to that is I really enjoyed it. And like I said, you know, God's Plan has been on the top of the charts for 11 weeks, and that song has grown on me quite a bit over that time, to the point where I almost put it in the good tier on my seasonal ranking. I think it deserves, like, just barely brushing out of being considered something I would listen to in my free time, because I don't really listen to it in my free time, but I certainly, you know, like, nod along to it every time it comes on the radio, or, you know, every time I hear it, but, yeah, to have it be replaced by that is like that's a real shift, because God's Plan is very laid back and mellow, and that was, like, so, that had some real energy to it, I mean, as far as Drake goes, anyway, and, I looked it up, it's, I actually looked it up as I was watching it. I'm sure you could probably tell, because I just had to know. The songs that it's sampling is X Factor by Lauryn Hill. And I don't know much about Lauryn Hill, but what I have heard from her I have enjoyed. Yeah, so... And I think... And I don't know anything about the song that it's sampled. I don't know anything about X Factor, the song. And as I mentioned, it seems to be just another case of outright just, like, jacking a beat from someone else, but... At least he was, you know, Drake did add some, you know, he was going over it, and I could see why this is getting the praise it is, because it's pretty, you know, it does seem to be, I need to look up the lyrics again, you know, but it does seem to be a pretty, you know, decent as far as, you know, female empowerment songs go, or at least it's not really explicitly about that. I don't think it's more like, it is kind of, but it's kind of more like touching on all those themes, kind of, it's, I don't know, I'm kind of babbling. Yeah, so, you know, I'm not gonna, you know, like God's Plan, this is a new #1, and I do expect it to stick for a while, so I'm just gonna say for now, you know, let's just hold off on delivering any final judgments. I'll say for now, I did thoroughly enjoy that, and I see myself returning to it soon and forming more opinions on it. So, Nice for What by Drake, good job. I like it. Alright, so that was that week. We had 8 songs that we got through, but honestly, that was a pretty solid week, I'm not gonna lie. Most of that was down to Cardi B, you know, it was the giant album bomb from her, and really weren't any songs that I outright disliked there. I'd say the closest I came to actually disliking a song was Ring. And even that wasn't even that bad. And then again, we have, excuse me. And then again, we still had some really, you know, it was just solid overall. Like I said, Cardi B is like, you know, she's obviously snuggled up close to Migos, and as I said before, I think that that's like a completely adequate comparison because both of them, neither of them like ever blow my mind, but I'm just happy that both of them are around. They have just this really good neutral to them. And then, of course, we do have, you know, our new number one, which I'm honestly really hoping stays around. I think it was definitely a good change of pace from God's Plan, and yeah, it's just like a couple things I'm like against in principle, like the you know, like the lazy hook. But even then, it was a good lazy hook. Honestly, wasn't doing anything with it, but I mean, you know, what very little he did with it worked to its benefit. So yeah, I'm okay with that. And so yeah, we just had solid week overall. I'm gonna see. Well, I'm excited to see what happens next week, and you know, as soon as all of the you know, stuff from the album, you know, inevitably falls off, except for possibly I Like It. I would not be interested to see how that one goes. Out of all the ones, that's the one where I'm most unsure of what's going to happen. I certainly want it to stick around. I think that's a pretty you know, that's a pretty nice unique niche it carves for himself in the top 10. So I hope it stays there. But all in all, solid week, and I was happy with it. I'm Sean Fay-Wolfe. This is Diamond X Studios, and I will see you guys next time.